There are some beautiful places in our world that we can visit, but there are some other places in our world which only a few people can visit. One such place is the land of Raja, Rani, where an Indian king and a Dutch woman fell in love and settled down together in the 15th century. Their descendants now live in a magnificent fort near Cochin. We will go there and learn about their lives. But before that, if you are new here, don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss any new updates from us. The Portuguese had come to India in the 15th century for trade. They were supposed to be trading spices, but they were also bringing Christianity with them. This was not well received by everyone. In fact, a lot of people converted to Christianity because of the force, and some people fought against them, like the Samori tribe. The Portuguese couldn't beat them, so they made an alliance with another tribe, the Nares. Together, they defeated the Samuras. And after that, the Nares got control of the spice trade. This brought them a lot of wealth, and they used this wealth to build forts all over the place, one of which is the fort at Cochin. Now, we don't know who built this fort. Some say it was the Raja of Cochin, and others say it was the Dutch. Whoever built it, it certainly looks magnificent even today. Let us enter inside. Wow, what a huge courtyard! Just imagine how many people must have lived in this fort. The flag of the Netherlands is still flying high from the top of this tower. It seems like the Dutch have never left this place. But this place has a secret that will take us back to the 15th century. Come on, let's find out more. Who were the Raja and Rani? We'll start with the Raja, Veeramunivarman. He was the ruler of Cochin, and he was married to a Nair princess named Aniyathiri. They had 2 sons, but unfortunately, both of them died. You can see their memorial stones here. It says that they died because of a snake bite. Can you imagine how painful it would have been for the Raja and Rani? But life must go on. So Queen Aniyathiri decided to marry her youngest son, and she sent out invitations to all the neighboring kingdoms. But this wedding invitation was very special. It was actually a peace treaty. All the kings who accepted the invitation had to come to the wedding unarmed. This treaty lasted for 7 generations. That means all these kings were related to each other somehow. But who were the guests at this wedding? The first one was the king of Travancore, but he never arrived. Instead, his sister came, and she was none other than the famous queen, Possessa Lakshmi Bai. Then there was the king of Madura. There was also a Muslim ruler from Calicut, and he came with an enormous procession, around 36,000 men. Imagine what it must have looked like. The wedding must have been one of a kind. After the wedding, the king went on a hunting trip. But while he was gone, something terrible happened. His palace was attacked and burned to the ground. Who did this? Probably the king of Travancore, since he never showed up for the wedding. But when the Raja returned, he found a letter in the ashes of the palace. The letter said that the king was waiting for him in Madura, and the Raja set out to find him. But on the way, he stopped at a village called Denjapattanam. There he met a beautiful girl named Rani. She was the daughter of the local chieftain, and she welcomed the Raja and his entourage for 3 days. But on the 3rd day, she asked for a favor. She wanted the Raja to accept her as his wife, and she gave him 3 conditions. 1, she didn't want any dowry. 2, she didn't want to live in a palace. And 3, she didn't want to be called Rani. Instead, she wanted to be called a simpleton. The Raja agreed to all her terms and married her. Then they started to live in a small village. Now, how is this for a twist? A king gives up his kingdom and his luxury to live in a village with a commoner. But why? Well, it turns out that the Raja wasn't just an ordinary man. He was a yogi. He had renounced his title and his kingdom to practice yoga, and Rani was no ordinary woman. She was a princess from a royal family, and she wanted to be with the Raja, so she gave him those 3 conditions. After a few years, the Raja got a letter from his guru. He asked the Raja to come back to the ashram. But the Raja was happy in his village, so he decided to send his brother instead. But then the guru came to the village himself. When he saw the Raja, he was very angry. Why did the Raja break his celibacy? Why did he marry a woman? The Raja explained everything to him and asked for forgiveness. Then the guru told him to go to the forest and bring him a flower called jasmine. As soon as the Raja entered the forest, he was surrounded by beautiful women. They offered him all kinds of pleasures, but the Raja rejected them all and continued walking until he found the jasmine flower. When he showed the flower to the guru, he disappeared, leaving the Raja all alone. Now, some people might think that this is the end of the story, but it's not. The truth is, this is where the real story begins. The Raja and Rani lived in that village for many years. They had 4 sons and 3 daughters, and all of them followed their parents' footsteps and became yogis. The eldest son was named Venugopala, and he took the name Vishnunarana after becoming a yogi. He traveled all over India and taught yoga to people. After him, there was Govinda, who became known as Madhava. He stayed in Bhadrakali and taught yoga there. The 3rd son was Ananthan, and he became known as Shankara. He went to Kashi and became a famous yogi there. The youngest son was Ramavarma, and he became known as Raman. He went to Srirangam and taught yoga there. As for the daughters, Parvati became Parvati Amma, Lakshmi became Negavali Amma, and Saraswati became Saraswati Amma. All of them lived as nuns and taught yoga to women. So the Raja and Rani had 4 sons and 3 daughters, and all of them were yogis. But there is another twist to the story. The Raja and Rani weren't just yogis, they were also magicians. Yes, they could perform amazing feats of magic. We have records of one such performance. The Raja and Rani went to Madura to meet the king there. But when they reached the palace, the king was very busy with his wives and concubines. He didn't even bother to get up from his seat and talk to them. So the Raja got very angry and challenged him. He said that he could move the mountain in front of the palace if he wanted to. The king laughed at him and said, "Sure, why not? Move the mountain if you can." So the Raja and Rani joined hands and performed a magical ritual. They started moving the mountain little by little. And you won't believe what happened next. The mountain started shaking, and everyone in the palace, including the king and his servants, started running away. They thought that the end of the world was near. But the Raja stopped them and said, "Don't be afraid. I am doing this just to show you my magic." Once he proved his magic, the Raja and Rani left the palace and went back to their village. So the Raja and Rani were yogis and magicians, but they were also parents. They had 7 children, and all of them became yogis. But what about their legacy? What happened to the fort they lived in? Well, that fort is still standing today, but it's not in good condition. It's in ruins. But if you look closely, you can see the hard work of the ancestors. You can see the beautiful carvings on the walls and pillars. You can see the remnants of their culture. Today, only a few people live in this fort. They are the descendants of the Roger and Ronnie. They are the ones who have kept their traditions and customs alive. They are the ones who have carried on the legacy of the magical Roger and Ronnie. If you like stories like this, don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss any new updates from us. Also, we have covered many such beautiful places in our previous videos. If you want to see those videos, click on that like button. Thank you for watching and make sure to join us in our next video. Until then, goodbye.